This is video 2, 10 practical steps to take when your marriage ends. Hi, I'm Rose Pellar, life change coach and divorce lawyer and founder of the Beyond Divorce to Happiness program. Welcome to the second video in a series which focuses on what women need to know to get through and beyond their divorce to find happiness. If you have not seen the first video, I recommend that you stop this video right now and go back to watch video number 1. The link for video 1 is shown on this slide. Video 1 sets the context for this series. In video 1, I shared my story about my divorce and what prompted me to make this video series. The short version of my story is that I was divorced a long time ago, and I had no support as no one in my family or my circle had been divorced before. As a result, I felt lonely, I felt embarrassed, and I felt like a failure. I remarried, and unfortunately, that marriage also ended in a divorce, and my self-esteem plummeted. It was then that I realized I had been putting everyone ahead of myself, and when my second marriage ended, I decided to put myself first and secure my future and find a path where I could make a difference in the world. Consequently, I went to law school and became a lawyer to help others. I have been a divorce lawyer since 1997, and I have helped many individuals going through divorce. But I felt constricted by the legal system, and I was frustrated because I was unable to help more people. Furthermore, in my capacity as legal counsel, I could not help them with their healing process. In my practice, I see too many women who do not recognize their value and who give up control of their lives to others and who do not dare to want more for themselves. When participants in my divorce recovery workshops got good information plus proper support and sound guidance, their divorce recovery journey was shortened. When they heal, they can turn their attention to their personal growth, which will then have a profound impact, not only on their own lives, but in the lives of their children and in all relationships they will have. It was this realization which led me to be dedicated to helping women take charge of their lives, especially after divorce, so they can be happy and live their lives being true to who they are and according to their own values. So before we dive into the focus of this particular video, you should know whether or not your marriage is over. There are 10 practical steps to take once your marriage has ended. Of course, if you are the one deciding to end your marriage, you may want to do your homework prior to announcing to your spouse your decision to end the marriage. For anyone going through divorce, physical safety must be your first priority. Avoid confrontations whenever possible. And the best way is to not react to criticisms or barbs. And do not get goaded into an argument. Just agree to disagree, and put space between you and your spouse when things heat up. Your relationship may not have been a physically violent one, but there's no telling how your spouse will react to your decision to end your marriage. Possibly, your spouse may become depressed and even unbalanced. Be sure to watch for signs and take precautions to keep yourself and your children safe. If your husband assaults you or threatens to do you and or the children harm, please call the police and if necessary, leave the home. On this subject, I implore you not to make false allegations against your husband with the intention of gaining an unfair advantage. And you should know that you cannot take the children without your spouse's consent or a court order. If you have to flee the home with your children, be sure to immediately to go to court to obtain an emergency court order. Step number 2. This step is almost as important a first step to take. Go see a divorce lawyer to find out what you can and can't do and what you can expect to happen respecting division of property, how parenting of children will be handled, and what, if any, financial support you are entitled to. Please do not rely on other than a divorce lawyer for legal advice. On that point, I remind you that my role in this series is only as a coach and not as a lawyer. Ensure that you seek advice from the appropriate professionals. Step number 3. Make sure that you collect information about your finances and your spouse's finances, including income tax returns for the last 3 years, and investments and bank account statements, deeds to properties, insurances, pensions, debts, inheritances, etc. Information on what financial assets and debts each of you had on the date of marriage and on the date of separation is vitally important. Photocopy what documents you can and keep them safe. Your lawyer will advise you with respect to the division of assets and liabilities. It's important to get these documents at the outset, since these papers can go missing, and not having these supporting documents can delay the settlement of your finances. Step number 4. Secure your important documents and valuables, including jewelry and any item that you don't want to lose. You should secure your passport and your children's passports, your birth certificates and your children's birth certificates, any credit cards, life insurance policies, home and vehicle insurance policies, and your will, your marriage certificate, etc. And don't forget the family photographs. They will be hard to replace if lost. Step number 5. If possible, ensure you have access to enough money that cannot be cut off by your spouse. You will need funds to pay your legal fees, your first and last month's rents if you will need to rent a home. You will also need money to pay for groceries, utilities, daycare, medication, etc. Please note you will have to eventually account for any money taken, so make sure you keep good records. Step number 6. Plug the financial leak. If there are any joint credit cards, take steps to safeguard yourself from becoming liable for debts that your spouse may rack up after separation. Speak to your bank or financial advisor to get advice on what you can do to plug the leaks. Also, check your bank account to see what pre authorized payments come out of your account and ensure that you and your spouse have made arrangements for each of you to contribute accordingly. For instance, if there's a payment for his vehicle loan, that is an expense that he alone should shoulder from the date of separation. If, however, there's a joint debt, such as a mortgage payment on the matrimonial home, then you both should be shouldering that debt payment. The sooner that you can segregate payments after separation, the easier it will be. Otherwise, there will be too much accounting to be done, and often the person who has been making the payments can be left holding the bag. And I'm sure you don't want it to be you. Your lawyer can advise you what plans you should make for certain payments, keeping in mind that any financial support from one spouse to the other needs to be factored in. Step number 7, create a path for your own financial future. You can do this by opening a new bank account to which you will redirect deposits from your employment and any other sources from which you expect to have deposits. In addition, open up a credit account in your name only if you do not already have one, so you can start establishing a credit record of your own. Contact credit bureaus to properly create your own record separate from your spouse's. Arrange with your lawyer to make a new will and powers of attorney, and check that the beneficiaries of insurance policies and other assets reflect your current circumstances and wishes. Step number 8, protect your privacy. Ensure that you change your passwords to email, Facebook accounts, bank accounts, etc., so that your spouse is not able to have access to those accounts that you want to keep private. Redirect your mail to a post office box or to your parents' address, and be careful about whom you take into your confidence. Store your documents away from prying eyes. The above steps may seem excessive and maybe even unnecessary, dependent on the integrity of your spouse. However, it is better to be safe than sorry. Step number 9, help your children to deal with the breakup. There's also always the emotional fallout for you and for your children. It's a good idea to inform your children's teachers to let them know that there has been a separation and that you would like to be made aware of any significant changes in your child's or children's behavior. Be careful that the teacher does not use this information to introduce bias as to how your children are treated. It has been known to happen. If you see that the children's school grades are falling or they exhibit behavior which are not normal for them, you may wish to get them counseling to help them deal with the breakup. Having them join a counseling group that has other children whose parents have separated will help to normalize what is happening for them. Personally, you can help your children through divorce by not overcompensating for the loss of the other parent. For instance, don't try to buy their affection and loyalty, and remain constant with house rules you had before the breakup. Do not use your child as substitute for the other parent. Many a mom has made the mistake of telling their sons, "You're the man of the house now." Most importantly, do not use them as pawns in your divorce. Your children need the presence of both parents in their lives, and absent any safety or health concerns, do not deny them this right. Do not denigrate your ex to or in front of your children. Children tend to identify with one or both parents, so refrain from saying anything resembling, "You're just like your father." No matter how frustrated you are, remember they are children and should not be told all the gruesome details of your breakup or court proceedings. Your marriage may be over, but parenthood never ends. Just remember one important thing: when your kids see that you're okay, they will be okay. I have a confession to make. I was guilty of speaking badly of my boy's dad when he bought our 9-year-old son a very scary hunting knife. I recall asking my son, "Is your father an idiot?" And immediately I picked up the phone to call his dad. I proceeded to rake him over the coals, all within earshot of my children. Whereas I believe I was justified in questioning his judgment, I later understood how crazy I must have sounded, and I am sure I became the bad guy when I immediately confiscated the knife from my son. I was also so eager to erase my ex from my past that I had cut out his image from our family photos. This was before I knew better. Family photos are your children's history, and they should be preserved for the children. So please, please don't do what I did. Step number 10: take care of yourself. In order to care for your children, you must first take care of yourself. It's like what they tell you on the aircraft. When the oxygen mask drops, use it on yourself first before attempting to help your children. Even if you have no children, your first priority should still be to take care of yourself so that you can make decisions with a clear head and calm demeanor. Your breakup may also cause you to experience a loss of appetite, sleepless nights, or irritability. Be sure to get help. Consult with your doctor. A doctor may find that you need medication just to get you through the difficult times. But be careful not to become overly dependent on medication. Please also refrain from drowning your sorrows with other drugs, excessive alcohol, or food binging. Exercise of any type can be very helpful. The fresh air and the exercise from walking can be very beneficial, and being out in nature is very relaxing. I know for me, walking helped clear my head, and playing tennis invigorated me. I also proved a quote, "Music soothes the savage beast." That was so true, as I often danced on my own in my living room to upbeat music. I was dancing as if no one was watching. This released endorphins and uplifted my mood. One other thing that got me through was positive self talk. Each day, as I traveled to and from work, I kept repeating affirmations such as, "I am worthy of love and I am loved. I am strong, I am smart, and I am confident. I like myself. I really like myself." You will find when you talk to yourself often enough, you will begin to believe it. And when you believe it, you will begin to act as if it were true. And in due time, it does become true. Feel free to use these statements and post these statements on your bathroom mirror, on your desk, or anywhere where it will remind you to say them out loud. In the alternative, think of what you're lacking right now and develop a mantra that asserts the opposite. So, if you're feeling unattractive, you could say repeatedly, I am attractive and people are attracted to me. They like me and they like my company. Try this out over the next coming weeks, several times a day, and notice how you will begin to feel and how you will eventually start to act. And in time, you will start to see people react to you as if these statements are true. Have fun with it. Reading inspirational books was another positive act I relied upon during my bleak, dark days. It is something I still do today on a regular basis. I can recommend for now Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love. The copy I got had an audio and I played it constantly. You can also read my book, A Gift in Every Challenge, which is part inspirational and part memoir. And it tells my mother's story, for whom divorce was not an option, and my story, for whom divorce was the only option. It is available at Amazon. Indulge yourself and treat yourself as important because you are. If you enjoy having a relaxing bath, make time for it. You can add candles to boost the ambiance and have a glass of wine or a bubbly drink. Sit at your dining table to enjoy your meals. Don't resort to regularly sitting in front of the TV to have your dinner. I used to make the effort to cook a proper meal for myself, set a place at my table, and play relaxing music in the background. And occasionally I'd have my dinner by candlelight. When I when I needed a little bit more, I would buy a single rose or carnation to grace my table. I'd sit and enjoy every single morsel of the meal and enjoy the peace and relative quiet. If you're fortunate to have great friends, keep in touch with them. Schedule a coffee, lunch, or dinner date. Try not to make it a woe is me get together or a pity party. The more you dwell on being a victim, the more it brings you down. Limit the time you spend discussing your ex or your divorce, half an hour at the most. Then change the subject to interesting topics and plans to better yourself for your children and for your life. Recovery does not just happen with the passage of time. Recovery takes place when you take actions to help heal yourself. I've taken the liberty of slipping in a bonus recommendation for you. Set a goal for your future and find a coach or mentor to help guide you and motivate you towards your goal. When you set a goal, you know the direction which you want to head towards and what actions you will need to get there. It's important that you pace yourself. So if you can manage now only to set a goal for the next hour, something as simple as I won't speak about my ex for an hour. Or for the day, something like whenever I notice myself starting to feel sorry for myself, I will simply smile and say, this too shall pass. Go ahead and tackle a small goal at a time to build up your resolve. Remember, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I hope you found this video helpful and that it was worth the wait. If you did, please subscribe below and add your comments. Also, please share this video with someone you know who might benefit from it. In my next video, my plan is to talk about how to deal with your separation or divorce when you are still in love with your spouse, and what to do if your spouse doesn't want to let you go. I would appreciate if you would add in your comments any pressing questions you wish answered. That will help me to know what are your issues, and I will attempt to answer them all. To your happiness, I am Rose Pellar, life change coach and divorce lawyer. Be well, and I'll see you next time.